Hello and welcome. You are either already selling online or rushing to do so. Today I would like to talk about the difference between online and offline selling. Do you need different strategies? Do buyers behave differently? And has the nature of selling really changed over time? The internet tools are really awesome and there are many. You can do lead generation, data analytics, track shopper behavior, test offers, do follow-on marketing, and lots more. But at the end of the day, your objective, offline or online, is the same. You want to make a sale. So let's talk a little bit about what success is in selling. Success is when your customer buys from you rather than from a competitor. Therefore, to be successful, you need to beat the competition. When you win, the customer is telling you the value you are offering is greater than that of your competitor. So I am happy to buy from you. Makes sense, right? My name is Anwar Jumaboy, and in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to introduce you to a tool developed by Mercuri International that will help you win against the competition. So grab a pen and paper to jot down some notes. I find that the old-fashioned way of writing things down helps the brain process information better. Before you start using the tool, you need to have a clear idea of your customer and your competitor. Who is going to buy this product from you and who is your competitor? Now the tool is flexible so you can use it for different cases, but one at a time. So start with one product, one competitor, and one customer that you are trying to win over. Customers have a favorable opinion of their existing supplier. Offline and online, it's the same. Your job is to change the customer mindset and get your offering selected. Let's start with a real case of yours. You are pitching to a prospect who has a preference for a competitor's product or offering. This visual tool represents the scenario. The customer requirement is represented by the dark blue line. I will also mark out your offering, which is the green box, and of your competitor, the red box. You can pause the video here to study the tool before we proceed, or jot down some notes. What you offer, as does your competitor, that the customer needs is the area shaded in blue. If you didn't meet most, if not all, the customer needs, you wouldn't be in the game. Notice sometimes there are needs of your customer that neither of you can meet. That's shaded in pink. In Mercuri, we don't call these battlefields, as no advantage can be gained or lost here. Take a moment to study your sketch so that you can make notes as we go along. That leaves 6 boxes which we call battlefields, where you need to gain an advantage over your competitor. We have numbered them for easy reference. Let's start with battlefield 5. That's your competitor's strength. What the customer needs, and you are not able to provide. This is their competitive advantage. But only as long as the customer is convinced this offering or unique selling proposition meets their needs. What if you were to convince the customer that in fact they don't need this? It's a nice to have, yes, and the competitor has this and you don't. But if it's not needed, then isn't the customer paying for something they don't need? If you succeed here, you will have eliminated their advantage and made it a nice to have but not required, which is battlefield 4. So 4 is what your competitor has but is not required by the customer. What about a disadvantage that your competitor has? Perhaps they don't have a local presence, or they are too local, or they don't have enough resources or experience, or have poor reviews, or take too long to deliver. These are your competitor's shortcomings, and they are battlefield 6. By identifying each battlefield, you can then work on a strategy to win in each one. So in summary, battlefields 4, 5, and 6 represent the competitor's offering. Battlefields 1, 2, and 3 represent your offering. 2 is your USP or competitive advantage. 1 is your nice to have that the customer doesn't require. And 3, a disadvantage of yours that the customer has probably already identified. It could be the reason for them preferring your competitor. Perhaps you don't have a track record, or you're new, or you had a bad review. Is there something you can do to offset this? Don't ignore it. Maybe money back. Think about how you can strengthen your USP. What are your use cases? What else can you highlight that brings real benefit to the customer? Does this make sense? I hope so. Is there more you can offer now to the customer that they may not be aware of? Identify it, vocalize it, and you will have expanded Battlefield 2. Is there a way to convince the customer that his needs should include something of your offering that perhaps is not needed now? That would be Battlefield 1. Perhaps something they may need in the future. An ability to seamlessly add more users, more analytics, more products. That's Battlefield 1. I hope you get where I'm going with this. If all this sounds familiar, it should be. Watch a great salesperson and you will see how he focuses on 2, takes a swipe at 5, and highlights 6 while minimizing 3. They have mastered this approach because it works, and it comes naturally to them. Because it comes naturally to them, they struggle to teach the skills. That's where 6 Battlefields by Mercuri comes in. It codifies the practices of the best salespeople and allows these skills to be learned by everyone on the team. A word of advice: don't send out poorly trained salespeople or run a campaign that has not properly thought through. What will happen is that you will turn away potential customers and only make Battlefield 3 much bigger for you. Use 6 Battlefields. It can be learned and it works. Now that you have the tool, do think about how you can start using it today. You will need some practice. It will help to write up some scripts for your sales or marketing people to use, first in role play, then in the field. The next time a salesperson comes back unsuccessful or an online marketing campaign doesn't work out, use this tool. Ask the questions. Was 2 relevant to the customer? Was the customer worried about 3? Were we able to mitigate it? You can then have a constructive, actionable conversation with your team. Was there something in 1 that we can make relevant to the customer now and not in the future? Perhaps it costs us nothing. That would be even better. Did you identify the competitor's weaknesses, Battlefield 6? Were you able to highlight these in a non-threatening manner? These are the actionable conversations that you can have with your team if you use the 6 Battlefields. Lastly, let's talk about price, which I have not discussed. What is price? Price is what the customer is willing to pay for the value they are receiving. If you are not in the commodity business where differentiation is not possible, then you can use this tool to evaluate the pricing issue. You and your competitor have slightly different offerings, the USPs we talked about, 5 and 2. And you have the nice to have, 1, but you are weighed down by 3. If the customer is honest about your price being high, then what he is telling you is that your offering is more than meets his needs. Are you over-providing and therefore starting from a higher cost base than your competitor? Or is your offer not really that strong? It's not effective, maybe the descriptions, the reviews are wrong, and that makes 2 much smaller than you think. Use the 6 Battlefields. Is there something in Battlefield 1 which has a high perceived value to the customer that you can include in your proposal? This will help you improve your value to match with the price that you are looking for. You now have enough to start using the 6 Battlefields today. But if you'd like some help on implementation or training, where we can work with you to develop specific scripts, do get in touch. We work with industries across markets in Europe and Asia. I'm sure we will be able to help you. We are now able to reach you by the internet, and you can schedule sessions either in person or across the net. Thank you for joining me today, and I wish you success as you go out and beat the competition.